Since you are also National Security Advisor, and you've said I could ask this question, I think many people, particularly our European friends from around the world, we would all have noticed that for some time, Myanmar was, and Daw Aung San Suu Kyi was lionized around the world, and today she is virtually demonized. And even people talking about taking back the Nobel Peace Prize from her and so on. So in a short period of time, Myanmar, which was the darling of investors from around the world, suddenly has become the no-go place, the pariah. And that's largely because of problems in Rakhine State, Rohingyas and so on. In your position, both having to tackle inbound investments and as National Security Advisor, what is your take on this dilemma?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I should address the elephant in the room. So everybody's thinking about the Rakhine issue. Let me stress that Rakhine is a very complex issue. It is an issue that we inherited from historical times and more recently from colonial times. But it is an issue that we need to address without adding on emotion to it. It has now become a very emotive issue. People do not understand the situation in Rakhine. First of all, Rakhine is a state of about 3 million people. It is one of 14 states in Myanmar, and it is a very complex state because in Rakhine, the majority of the people living there are Rakhines. They are more than 2 million people out of the 3 million people. There are other smaller ethnic groups, Maro, Dainet, Kaman, who are Muslims, and even Hindus, a group of Hindus who are living there. So we need to see why the situation developed the way it did. First of all, in August of 2017, on the night of the 24th, there was a simultaneous attack on 30 security outposts. People tend to forget that if you have a planned attack on security outposts, you are bound to have a response from the security side. And so it happened that when the security forces were attacked, they responded. And after that, there was an exodus to Bangladesh. But we recognize that in order to resolve this problem, Bangladesh and Myanmar are the two principals that are needed to get together to find a resolution. We have been trying to have a dialogue with our friends and neighbors in Bangladesh, and we agreed in November of 2017, we had an MOU signed to proceed with the repatriation. The fact that it has not happened is because there are people with different agendas in the camps on the refugee side. In Cox's Bazar, there are ASA, the terrorist group operating there, and they will not allow people to leave these camps. So, for example, there are 440 plus Hindus who have expressed the desire to come back through the Indian embassy. They have not been allowed to leave. So how do we proceed with in a situation where fear rules the day? The reason for this is that they have instilled fear in the hearts and minds of this group of people living there. And they have insisted that these people be given automatic citizenship. No sovereign country in Asia or elsewhere in the world will give you automatic citizenship. If you do not have documents, you can apply to become a citizen, and you will have the possibility to go through the process, and every citizen will have his rights and responsibilities. And in places like Singapore, you're required to do military service. In the constitution in Myanmar also there is a requirement to do military service. We may or we may not enforce it, that depends. But the point is that if you want to be part of a country, you have to to go through a process. It's not automatic. And if you say you will not come back because you want to have an automatic citizenship, then it's going to take a much, much longer time. I'd like to stress that as a National Security Advisor, my first duty is to ensure that there's peace and stability in the entire country for every member of the nation and every citizen.